closer to blocking a punt. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see one before the end of the night.
Yeah, the Eagles actually had a punt block. Also, they muffed a punt earlier in the season.
You're right, that penalty is against the Wildcats, so it's coming back.
For the Wildcats, that's their third penalty of the game. Eagles have 2. Earlier this season, the Wildcats unfortunately had 22 penalties assessed against them. The coach has been working mightily toward not making those mistakes on the offensive or defensive side of the football. Wildcats 1st and 10. The ball will rest in their own territory at the 47. Quarterback throws out in the flat, pass is complete. C.J. Holmes, he has 3 defenders around him, and he eludes all 3 of them and flies forward for about a 7-yard gain.
Great pickup by C.J. Catches the ball. 3 defenders collapse on him, but their tackling has just not been good tonight for the Eagles. He breaks those arm tackles, and you've got to wrap him up to get C.J. down. You're not going to arm tackle this guy.
Forward progress out to the 46. That's a pickup of 7. 2nd and 3, dropping back to pass. Firing a shot, and it's complete. Making that reception for the Wildcats was number 7. That's Twan Brown. Brown was one of the guys that we talked about in the pregame that stepped up last week, and he steps in again and makes a solid play for the Wildcats, and that's another Wildcat first down. If you need a car, truck, or SUV, the only place to go is Honda Cars of Aiken right now. 0 down, no car payments until November. See their entire inventory at HondaCarsOfAiken.com. 1st and 10 Wildcats, and to give up the middle. He's flying deep into the red zone as he flies forward. Is that C.J. Holmes again? It is. C.J. Holmes running the football. He's caught a couple of deep shots, and this time he's showing his versatility and the ability to run with the football to get the Wildcats another first down. This first down brought to you by Honda Cars of Aiken. If you need a car, truck, or SUV, the only place to go is Honda Cars of Aiken right now. 0 down, no car payments until November. You can look at them at HondaCarsOfAiken.com. Your score after 1 quarter of play. It's the Wildcats 14, TW Josey nothing. This is Wildcats football on your Perry Broadcasting Sports Network.
Foundation, a 501c3 arm of the Alpha Alpha Epsilon chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority of Evans, Georgia. Everyone is asked to wear pink to be immersed in this with good food, fun, and entertainment that includes live music and comedians, while also enjoying strolling through the Sip and Shop vendor market for good eats and treats, festival drinks, clothes, and other impressive wares. Pack your own picnic basket if you choose. Prizes will be awarded to the best decorated table or picnic setup and the best dressed male or female in pink. More importantly, awards and gifts will be provided to families who are coping with breast cancer and gynecological cancers. Mark your calendar to attend Rhythm and Rosé, the Pink Party with a Purpose. This fall affair is October 8th from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the Columbia County Amphitheater located at 7022 Evans Town Center Boulevard in Evans. Your presence matters and will make a meaningful impact. To support, visit Facebook and search Rhythm and Rosé 2023, the Pink Party with a Purpose.
You're listening to WTHB, your praise and inspiration station. 96.9 and 1550 Rims Augusta. Our Perry Broadcasting of Augusta Station.
Back inside TW Josey. Back inside Eagles Josey. Start of the second quarter. 14-0 is our score. Thanks to the hustler back in our network center, Winston O. Stricker, our talented producer alongside Deluxe, handling the social media on Perry Broadcasting's family of stations, and Antonio, our cameraman extraordinaire up top, getting all the pictures that you guys love. This is the simulcast radio and TV coverage for you, live streaming of Wildcat football and basketball this season. Pass out in the flat. It's complete. eluding the tackler and diving forward inside the 5. The ball carrier is dropped about the 3-yard line.
And that pass was that Booby Harris that caught that?
Looks like it's Booby.
Yeah.
So Booby has been active. So Booby with another catch and another 7-yard gain. First and goal for the Wildcats, and they'll work the left side. Diving ahead, nothing happening there. Brian Oliver making the stop defensively for the Eagles.
And they bring him off the field and sub in number 50.
He was in that low line defense.
So Wildcats with the football, one back in the formation, 2 wide receivers right, 2 to the left. Quarterback keeper up the gut, diving toward the end zone. Is he in there? No signal as yet. And now they'll say it is a touchdown. Wildcat touchdown by the quarterback, Booby Harris.
Great fake for them to run there. They pulled in the defender who chased the running back and did the fake with Booby Harris and was able to push his way through into the end zone. It's a good pickup by the Wildcats.
So a 3-yard touchdown run for Harris, his first score of the game. Last week, he was responsible for 2 rushing touchdowns as well as 2 passing touchdowns. With a 37 on the board for the Wildcats. Extra point kick by Beecham is up and through. And the Wildcats have extended their lead early here in the second quarter with 10:56 remaining before halftime. The Wildcats lead it now 21-0.
And you can see the scores starting to mount up. This has been sort of the MO for the Eagles this year, getting behind early. You know, it can be frustrating in those situations, but, you know, it's good to see these young men, and I know Coach Pinkney's going to talk to them definitely at halftime and keep their spirits up, but I just want to see them make progress in this. These are programs are in two different areas right now, and Laney is playing for positioning in the playoffs, and the Eagles are just playing to build this program.
City Classic. I've been a part of 21 of these, both as a broadcaster at Channel 6 and then, of course, as the play-by-play guy for 20 of them.
City Classics are always fun.
No question. There's nothing like it. Daggett, right foot, puts a spin on it, and it's picked up at the 15. Near side to the 20, to the 25. He's got a picket fence. Now across the 40, 45, 50, 50, 45, 30. And down at the 28-yard line, a tremendous return by T.W. Josey, and that is Javion Jackson. JJ with a huge play, the junior, 5'8", 155.
JJ, that's what we're going to call him. He is a defensive back. He's a kick returner, as we see, and he's a wide receiver. He's a do-it-all type of guy. Junior, 5'8", 155 pounds. Once he got that corner, he turned on the Jets. And if it hadn't been for that one man that got in his way and sort of caused him to stumble, he might have taken that one to the house.
No flags as well, so great job by the Eagles special teams unit on the 52-yard return by JJ. So the Eagles have life, and they're going to call a timeout to make sure they got everything that they want. As their quarterback coming out will be Quashon Mlady. Mlady rides the white helmets that we're familiar with the Eagles had over the last several seasons. He's the last holdover. Everybody else has the new Notre Dame type gold helmets.
I like the gold helmets. I like the feathers on the jersey. Sort of a little bit of that Oregon touch to it.
A little swag.
Oregon always has great uniforms. It's good to see it trickle down to the high school level.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard it, but I think they've got like 9 different uniforms, Oregon.
I mean, as a player, if you care about how you look and what the uniform looks like, Oregon's got to be on the top part of your list. When they played Prime,
Colorado,
they had the cleats that changed color when they warmed up. I mean, I'd go there just for that.
Yeah. And the facilities out of this world. Phil Knight, Nike, and all he does for the program helped to put them on the map. 10:54. Beat that 10:43 left to play. So they'll drop and throw. Mlady looking for somebody right side. There's two guys down there, a defender for the Wildcats. In the midst of that one, that pass was overthrown, intended for Mr. Barnes. Jamari Barnes, the senior, 5'8", 150-pounder. He got out there, and I think Mlady may have a leg injury as he's still down.
Yeah, Barnes got deep. It was good coverage, but it also looked like he may have had a size advantage on the DB. So if it was a jump ball, it would have been a good opportunity for Barnes to pull that one down. So maybe Coach Pinkney thinks he sees something, and we'll see if they try to go with that deep ball again on that side.
While we have an injury timeout, the Wildcats Nation, we want to thank you for the love of our coverage of Wildcats football on 96.9 FM, praise969.com, and the Perry Broadcasting app and YouTube channel. Tonight, we're proud to be broadcasting live on the radio as well as streaming live. Winston Ostricker, we talked about him earlier, is in the broadcast booth with us. Hustler back in our network center. Thanks to all that they do for our broadcast. And if you have a business and maybe you want to be involved in this, you can reach out to us. We'd love to have you be a sponsor, help these young folks get the coverage they deserve. All you have to do is reach out to me on Facebook Messenger at Charles MacDaddy. That's one word, MacDaddy. So Charles, MacDaddy, McNeil. And let me know the name of your business, and I'll reach back out to you on Monday. We'll get you squared away. The Eagles, after the timeout, at a 2nd and 10, and they go the run up the middle. They have a ball operating on the right hash. Short gain, maybe 2 on the play. It'll be 3rd down and about 8.
That run was by the senior, Maurice Holmes, 5'9", 175 pounds. He's been sort of the bright spot for the Eagles this year. Has done some of the scoring for them. But it's going to be tough running tonight up against that Wildcat defensive line.
Remind those businesses, imagine having your commercials airing on the live stream as well as the radio, both at the same time, reaching thousands of football fans in the Wildcat Nation and beyond. Quarterback keeper, left side, he's got a picket fence. He's headed toward the end zone. There's a flag down late. He's in the end zone. That's a touchdown for a moment for the Eagles, but wait a minute. As the flag is down, and Ronnie Baker is beside himself at one of his players for not covering that outside edge.
Looks like it may have been a holding call, so this one might be coming back. But Cameron Williams was the one who was lined up at quarterback and took that direct snap, got a good block on the outside, and was able to take that ball in. But let's see what the call is going to be.
Yeah, Ty Cameron may make Chris's all-name team. 5'9", 165-pound junior. That's Tycameron. And this one is coming back.
Right. Yeah, Coach Pinkney's tried all types of different lineups tonight. He is trying to get a spark somewhere. Somebody on this Eagles sideline is going to provide something for him. Thought he had one there, but the penalty is going to bring that back.
Against the Eagles.
9:26 left to go before the break. That negates the 28-yard touchdown run for Ty Cameron.
The holding call is what sprung him. I saw a good block on the outside, but I think he called that one on the wide out, on the wide receiver.
Now we have a delay. No, illegal motion is the call. Thought it was going to be delay of game because he blew the whistle before the play started. Illegal motion, a shift on that offensive line. Maurice Holmes, that may be a product of the quarterback. Excuse me, Chris, might be a product of the quarterbacks changing in and out. You get used to certain cadences.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. With Coach Pinkney trying different things tonight. It's a lot of movement, a lot of people going in different positions. So you expect penalties like that.
There's heavy pressure that time by the Wildcats, and they smother the quarterback. This time it was number 6, Mlady, the signal caller, and he was nailed in the backfield.
Yeah, Jaden Shaw just shot through the line like like a bullet, and he was able to make that tackle. He's linebacker, 6 feet, 190-pound senior. Has made some great plays for the Wildcats this season on the defensive side of the ball.
Yes, certainly, because he was the guy that was kind of in the shadows of that linebacking core from last year, would make big plays in certain games, but didn't know how to step up and be a leader. And this year he certainly emerged as a leader on the defensive end, as Marlon, my other broadcast partner, calls him, part of the law firm. Now he'll drop. Mlady will throw right side in the air, floater, and the receiver got a hand on it, but he was out of bounds. The coverage out there was by Boobie Harris.
And that's that same matchup that we saw earlier when he tried to go deep on that side again. Jamari Barnes has got a size advantage on the DB, so they're trying to throw a jump ball to him, but great coverage by Boobie.
Boobie giving up some inches on that one, leaped in the air, deflected it. It was probably going to be out of bounds anyway, but Boobie wasn't taking any chances. 7:36 remaining. We're in the opening half of play, second quarter. And the Wildcat special teams unit will make that offense on the field after that fourth down opportunity went awry. So Wildcats take over on offense, and Boobie just made the defensive play, now hands it off to Mytel Henry. He's following his blocking. Right side, he's got a big opening. He's got 10, maybe 15 yards. He loses the football. It's loose on the turf. And the Wildcats keep the possession, I do believe. Yes, the Wildcats will keep the possession, so a 14-yard gain after the loss of 1 on the fumble, but not before Mytel Henry had carried it out there across the 40 to about the 44-yard line.
Mytel did a great job of following his blockers, got past the line of scrimmage, got into some open field, and got a little careless with the rock.
Wildcats keeping it on the ground again, straight ahead running. That's another pickup of about 7, maybe 6 on the play. They'll put it forward progress at the midfield stripe. So that's a pickup of 6 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 4. Line to gain is the 44-yard line of Josey.
Boobie Harris ran that on the keeper. So the Wildcats are going to a heavy run right now, setting up the pass play.
And they have a man out there, and he's open. He makes the catch, and he's off to the races. Touchdown. Easy as pie. Boobie with a tremendous throw, but there's a flag back here in the backfield. This one, I believe, is coming back. And it is holding against the Wildcats. Oh, my goodness. What a fling by Boobie, though, as he found his man, number 7 out there, Twan Brown.
Twan, we mentioned earlier, was one of those guys who stepped up after the suspension of some key players and really showed what he was made of. And now they've gone to him several times in this game on deep passes.
He's the taller of the receivers that the Wildcats like to utilize, and he used his body well on that to deflect the defender, get into the open field, and made an easy catch, and the rest was history. Fortunately, his offensive line, in order to give Boobie the time, held the oncoming rush of the Eagles. So with 6:50 left, they're backed up 10 yards. And then just that quickly, the penalty goes back the other way on an offsides encroachment on the defense. So each team with 4 penalties in this game. Last contest, the Wildcats at 9. Quarterback keeper. Boobie up the middle. He's got a first down. Boobie still on his feet to the 40. Boobie down the left sideline, 30, 25-20, 15-10. Boobie is headed to the end zone. No flags. Oh, my goodness. Is this a video game or what? 8:20. Woo! They'll rename the boulevard Boobie Boulevard after that one. Goodness.
Great run by Boobie. But let me tell you that there was an even better block that was made by Twan Brown, the wide receiver, basically blocked that last man who had a chance to take Boobie down and just sprung him for that score. So, again, just kudos to Twan, who's just done well with the time that he's been given, showing Coach that he definitely deserves more time on the field and more looks.
I got to go back to your days playing Madden. I knew you would pull off a play like that with one of your special players, right?
I've got my go-to plays from Madden. You know, if you know me, I'm only going to run about 4 plays the whole game, and my kicker never sees the field. So just so you know.
Wow. Beecham's extra point kick is up and good, and the Wildcats have extended their lead out to 28-0. Haven't put that extra score on there as yet. But 28-0 should be the score, as Harris with his second touchdown run of the game. So C.J. Holmes and Boobie Harris each with 2 touchdowns. Holmes with his 2 in the first quarter from 58 yards out on a reception and a 13-yard reception. Harris, on the other hand, a 3-yard touchdown run and that 50-yard touchdown gallop through at least 7 defenders to take it to the house. So a pair of keepers by Harris have extended the Wildcat lead out to 28-0.
The Wildcats are coming back out on the field. I can tell you now that maybe I should have changed my moneymaker to CJ, but I was really expecting DJ Daggett to go deep a lot tonight, to see some deep balls thrown to him, which we have seen. But that running game has just been wide open for the Wildcats all night long. Once they get on the corners and they're getting those blocks from the receivers, it's open field.
DJ Daggett, right foot into it, and it's pulled in at the 7. Now to the 10, 15, 20, 25, and he's bumped down at the 25, maybe the 26-yard line. That's where they'll have it 1st and 10.
And that tackle was made by Terrence Henley, linebacker, 5'5", junior, 160 pounds.
Made the return on JJ.
JJ gave them a little spark on that last return that they had, but wasn't able to pick up much there.
Yeah, Javion Jackson brought it out to the 26, so a nice return by him. Turn of 20 yards on the play. They'll be operating 1st and 10 from the 26. Josey has it, 6:17 left to play.
Eagles are just looking to make some progress on this series. Just advance the ball.
2 backs in the formation, low snap through the legs of Holmes. He falls backwards just to keep the possession. So a bad snap by the center cost the Eagles some yardage.
Coach Pinkney's just having a tough night. I mean, there's been a couple of bad snaps by the center. He may want to consider taking Holmes out of the shotgun position and just put him up underneath the center.
That is a loss of 12 yards on the play. They're going to operate again from the shotgun. Quarterback will keep it, try to move left side. The Wildcats waiting on it. And they combine 5 of them in all to make the stop. This time on Demarion Demmons. We've got an injured player on the field. It's a member of the Eagles.
He looks to be in pain. They've got a trainer going out there to check on him. The players are going to huddle up on the side while they tend to his teammate.
Yeah, Wildcat Nation, you know my broadcast partner for 9 years, Jariah Lewis. The Laney alum is a walking encyclopedia of Laney history. I received word last week that Jariah had emergency major surgery. He's on the mend, thank God, and we ask that you take the time, if you will, and say a prayer for Jariah. He's not ready to talk or accept visitors at this time, but he will certainly join us down the road, one of our halftime reports, as soon as he's able. And I know he's probably tuned in as we speak to this Wildcat and watching the broadcast as well. So Jariah, on behalf of Chris, myself, Winston, Miss Velvet, Miss Dorothy, of course, Hustler, DJ Hayes, Sellis, everybody in the Perry family, Craig Boogie, we all, I know, want to wish you nothing but the best. Selena Soul, wish you nothing but the best in your recovery. Please follow the doctor's orders. And we look forward to having you right back here on the sidelines, telling us all about the heroics of the Wildcats, both past, present, and in the future.
definitely wish him well and good health. Sorry that they had to miss this City Classic, but it's always exciting. Out today, talking to people here in the area, businesses in the area. Everyone's talking about who they're going to pick. Doesn't matter if you went to one of these schools or not. Just to know that when these two teams played, because of the proximity, because of the history between them, someone had to pick a side. We've all probably got family that have definitely attended Laney, but maybe even Josey. So it's a city event when these two teams get together.
Yeah, and the Wildcats sideline, the fan base, the 12th man is out in full throat. They've kind of taken 3/4 of their availability. Of course, they leave room for the band as well, so they've come over in big numbers. Thing about this stadium, the stands on the home side stretch virtually the entire field. So the Eagle fans, late arriving, but certainly having heard the game and broadcast, have made their way in as well. And as the quarterback is stopped for a loss in the backfield, so they'll bring a 4th down. So he's trapped inside the 10-yard line. So this drive has just started out in decent field position at the 26, and now they're all the way back inside the 10, and they'll put the ball down at the 8-yard line. So loss of 18 yards offensively in this series and bringing on the punting unit.
As you mentioned, they've just gone backwards, no progress on this. I know it's got to be frustrating for Coach Pinkney. They just need to work on their blocking scheme and just a little bit of discipline on that offensive line, basically where it's going to start for them to build this program.
I'm starting to believe that I may have missed the extra point. They haven't changed the score, and nobody's complaining about it. Thought Beecham had made all 4 of his attempts. Did you see anything different?
No, it looked good.
Yeah. All right, so punting unit is on for Josey. The Eagles get a good low line drive punt, and it's picked up at the 45. That's C.J. Holmes, stutter stepping, losing 2 guys. One guy fell to the turf. C.J. angling toward the near sideline. Now you see him, now you don't. Some prestidigitation out there by C.J. Holmes as he carries the ball inside the 30 and out around the 25.
Okay, and I'm sure Coach Pinkney has told him this based on the level that he's played on. But in those first 3-4 weeks of practice, you work on a lot of things. One of them is a tackler. Keep your eye on the guy's waist. That part is going to tell you where he's going. They're watching CJ's shoulders. They're watching his head. They're watching his feet. And these guys are on the field just dancing all around him and missing him every time he touches the ball.
And we go back to the fact that he missed last week's game due to suspension. Of course, he had a little trash talking and some excessive celebration in the Butler game. As a result of that, he was forced out of this last contest. He and JT, we haven't mentioned JT as yet, as now they bring a man on late. The Wildcats will run with the quarterback keeper up the middle. That's DJ Daggett. That's your moneymaker. And there he goes for a first down for the Wildcats as he picks up 15 on the play and all the way down near the 10-yard line.
Now maybe we'll see a big dose of DJ Daggett here late in the game just to keep moving the ball. Wildcats lined it up in that power formation area. He had 2 blockers coming out, clearing the way for him on that one.
So Daggett and company. So they go with another quarterback. This time it is the JV quarterback getting some run, Shamir Sturgis. Sturgis showed well in that Butler contest. Got a chance to come in and mop up that one. So Sturgis on a QB and gives it to James Pride. There goes Pride, right side. He's got a big opening. Pride headed toward the end zone. Pride barrels over a man for a Wildcat touchdown.
James Pride with the power run. Again, looking like Marshawn Lynch out there with his size and the way he can move and his feet. Just powered that right up the right side, got on the corner, and hit that pylon.
A little beast mode for you. So 3:17 remaining. Wildcats with another score. 6-yard touchdown run.
And I've mentioned to you about Pride before. He's such a powerful runner. and just sometimes you don't see him get as many touches as I think, that he would need to do. But it's something I know he's working on.
This time the extra point kick is up and the kick is good. So Beecham extends the lead. We'll have to check the score right now. They're saying 34-0, so we'll put it that way and try to check their math at halftime.
So again, your Eagles are going to take the Eagles are going to take the field to receive the kick. They have not been able to really form any kind of successful offensive drive so far this whole game. Their biggest plays have come on special teams.
Yeah, that nice return a few moments ago, right after the Wildcats scored. Boobie Harris on that 3-yard touchdown run. JJ with a nice return. Got him in excellent field position, but once again, they just kept going backwards. Combination of penalties and errant snaps put him in great field position. Now the Wildcats have got this one under control. Daggett, right foot into it, angling toward the sideline. It's pulled in at the 20, out to the 30, and sliding forward. Kick return specialist was Maurice Holmes. He slides forward to the 34-yard line, and that's where the Eagles have it, some of their best field position of the ball game.
We may see someone different at QB again for the Eagles. Not sure what Coach Pinkney has planned for him, but I know what he's looking for, just some type of progress, something that's going to work. And I guarantee you, once he finds something that can help move the ball forward, he's probably going to stick with that lineup.
Yeah, I can only say that there must be an injury. Davion Harrington, in all the highlights I had seen, left-hander, was slinging it out there. He had a strong arm. Have not seen him, do not see him on the sidelines. As back at quarterback once again is Quashon Mlady. So Q running the offense. Nearly lost the snap on that one as his running back nearly ran in front of him, but he completes the pass out in the flats. Gets it back to the line of scrimmage, but no more.
That stop was made by number 26, Gerald Brown III. 5'9", 211-pound sophomore.
Yeah, one of the youngsters, sophomore, JV player, getting a chance to play on the varsity tonight. JV has had quite a young season. They get started a couple of weeks after the varsity regular season begins. The Wildcats have been, every time I look up, I get those alerts. The Wildcat JV wins again. So 2nd down and 10. Mlady. They go with the double reverse. And now they'll go wide, trying to get to the outside. Chasing him down. He loses his helmet. Play should be dead right there. And I think they're going to call a face mask. The official on the near side, the side judge, calling a face mask, I do believe, as the young man lost his helmet. He continued to run down the field, but the play is dead as soon as he loses his helmet.
That was JJ, number 21, JJ, the junior. Now, he's got a lot of emotion, a lot of passion. He's the one that gave him that spark on the special teams play. His helmet came off on this one, and he ran probably another 10 yards after that. Luckily, no injury. But that man was determined to at least advance the ball as much as he could on that play. A little bit of a trickeration. What was it, a double reverse they ran?
Yeah. Yep. The inside pitch, which was actually a pass. And then the guy coming back around the weak side. That play was actually run on them in another game. That happened in the game at the Brickyard last week. They had that exact same play run on them as the first play of the game. Because Cy Jones ran the trick play on the reverse, 65-yard touchdown. So they tried to turn around and run it against Laney. And even with the reserves on the field for the Wildcats, they weren't having it.
Well, like the saying goes, if you can't beat it, use it. So, but yeah, sometimes those plays just take so long to develop. And if you've got a disciplined team like these Wildcats, who've probably seen it several times themselves, they know to stay in place and play their lanes.
55-7 was the final score of that contest. Up at the Brickyard, number 1 Thompson Wildcats holding them to just 28 points. One of the lowest outputs of the season for the Thompson team. Of course, they defeated once against Burke County, number 7 ranked. In the higher classification are the Bears. Their first-year head coach, Franklin Stevens, taking over for our old friend and former Wildcat coach, Eric Parker. Both of these teams will be on a bye next week. Wildcats preparing for their homecoming affair against Westside 2 Saturdays from now. And then on the other hand, TW Josey looking to be a homecoming opponent as they'll be headed to Thurl in a couple of weeks.
And you can see that the Wildcats are lining up with 4 on the line. They're going to play with 2 safeties in the back, so they're peeling back a little bit. And it doesn't look like they're going to apply a lot of pressure with this type of lead right now. And let's just see what happens with this Eagles offense.
Yeah, with the exception of the linemen, I think the rest of the secondary are all JV players for the Wildcats right now. Good chance for these young men to get a chance of varsity football against their arch rivals. Taste of the City Classic as the quarterback will roll. Mlady has it. He eludes a defender. And now a second one down the right sideline. He's inside the 25 and scampers out of bounds. Give him forward progress right at the 25. But a beautiful run. Broken field run by Mlady.
Now that was Tayshawn Thompson for the Wildcats, the freshman that got into the backfield, put that pressure on the quarterback. He was able to escape that, but I was impressed by the way Tayshawn was able to break through the line there. And he's only a freshman.
Once again, 2 wide receivers. Now a third one coming to the right. Legal motion, I believe. It's the official. Too many players on the field. The Eagles with 12 players on the field when they broke the huddle. So that'd be penalty number 6.
Just some of those things that Coach Pinkney's going to have to work on with this team. Focus in, get them disciplined, and just take it one step at a time, one practice at a time.
Eagles fans still arriving. Of course, many of them come for the halftime show. Sonic Boom of the South and the Pride of Augusta Marching Band. We'll let you hear some of that at halftime. Mlady looks to throw the screen, overthrows his intended target. That was Holmes, Maurice Holmes, and incomplete.
Mlady didn't have a lot of time to get rid of that ball, and Holmes was just coming out of his break, just barely got turned around when that ball shot past him.
We've got 1:55 seconds left. We're in the second quarter. The Wildcats, according to the scoreboard, up 34-0. 3 wide receivers on the right side, 1 to the left. The ball on the right hash. Dropping back to pass. It's Mlady. Now he'll roll out to his left. He'll look and he'll run. He's got 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 yards. He's inside the 20. He's in the red zone. And a nice run by the quarterback. They're going to mark him right at the 20. So that's a pickup of 9 on the play. Sets up a third and manageable. This is a big play right here, Chris, for the Eagles. What are you expecting?
Absolutely. Well, it looks like Coach Pinkney just found something that works with Mlady. Let him drop back. See if they can't get that big receiver out in the corner, let Mlady just take off and run. See if they can advance the ball.
Use his athleticism. 2 wide receivers on the right, 2 to the left, and a bad snap. Mlady looked away from it, and the ball is loose. The Wildcats may have a chance to get on it. Critical 3rd down and 5, and it's a Wildcat pickup right there. The Wildcats will take over, and Mlady is down in a heap.
think he may be just more hurt from the disappointment. The Eagles were really mounting a decent drive in this series and then turned it over again with a bad snap.
Gerald Brown III picked up the football, 5'9", 211. And Brown is just a sophomore.
Yeah, in this second half, we've gotten a chance to see some up-and-coming underclassmen that are going to be very good pieces for this varsity team. In the second quarter.
Inside of a minute left. I think first team offense is back on the field. Booby left side, cross the 50, galloping to the 40. Waiting for his blocks to the 30, 25, he crosses the field. Booby, see you later. Booby Harris just took the ball to the house. 65 yards.
Incredible run by Booby Harris. He got past the line of scrimmage, beat the linebacker core, and then when he got up close to some DBs, he hit him with the dead leg and just shook him and took the ball back inside for another 20-yard scamper to get it into the end zone.
That's his third quarter, touchdown of the quarter, I should say. With 40 seconds remaining, Booby Harris is putting on a show. That to go along with 2 touchdown passes in the first quarter. Unofficially, the score is 40-0 in favor of the Wildcats. Beecham for the PAT. Good snap, no rush. The kick is in the air, and the kick is good. Oh, they say no good, wide left.
Well, I'll tell you what was good is Booby Harris's dead leg. Now, I was impressed. It takes a while to get that done right. Sometimes if you pull it off wrong, you'll strain a hamstring or stumble. But when he did his stutter step and just shook that DB off of him, cut it back to the inside, and then turned on the speed. Amazing run by Booby.
Yeah, I think everybody thought he was going left, including the broadcasters, and then all of a sudden he cut back across the grain, and there was nothing but pay dirt in front of him. He used his natural speed. Talking with Coach Baker, he told us earlier this season, Booby is one of those athletes that, a lot of times you have athletes that need to get up and they need to, stretch, and they need to go through drills and everything else to get the maximum speed. He says Booby rolls out of the bed that way. He's just naturally gifted that way.
Once he sees daylight, he's gone.
I was looking at our statistician, Omida, and I'm smelling what smells like heat in here. And I'm wondering, is somebody got the heat on? That's why I kept looking around like, what's going on?
I don't know. Maybe it's the heat coming off the field. On that,
well, that could very well
side.
be the case, yeah.
With this 40-point lead.
Oh, my goodness. If anything, the air conditioning unit should be on.
But you're right. I do smell something.
The first time you turn first time you turn the furnace on in the wintertime, it's got that smell in this building, in the press box. 40 seconds left. Beecham will kick off this time. High floater, pulled in at the 20, 25, 30, near side, and been wrestled from behind and dropped by number 41 of the Wildcats.
41, that is Keenan Burns.
Keenan,
sophomore.
Yeah, Keenan, another guy that's shined a little bit in that Butler game. One of the youngsters coming up from the JV. So again, valuable minutes for these young players. We're going to have what we call major garbage time in the second half, so we'll be able to talk about some of these youngsters and some of the attributes or successes that you see on the field for the future of the Wildcats, because as you said, 16 seniors on the roster. What are you seeing so far in this limited sample of some of the younger guys getting some playing time in the first half of the City Classic?
Exactly. It's going to give Coach a chance to see what this JV team can do in a varsity situation against the varsity squad with this crowd. You know, and it gives these kids a chance to play in the City Classic, which is everybody's dream.
So this could be the final play of the first half. Quarterback takes a knee, and he'll be happy to get to the locker room. Well, maybe not so happy as he slams the football down. That's Maurice Holmes. A little disgust on his part, the official looking at it, and he may tell Maurice to go back and get it for him. And Maurice will oblige, I do believe. So again, leadership so important in the game of football. And Maurice will learn a valuable lesson as he heads off to the sidelines. The senior, 5'9", 175 pounds, and the Eagles, not the half that they wanted, as they go into the halftime locker room, trailing in this one by a score of 40-0. Wow. Did not see that one coming at all. Expected a Wildcat victory and a lopsided one at that, but 40-0 at the break. The Wildcats on pace to score 80. Now, we will have a continuous clock in the second half, so certainly an opportunity for them to step up and shine in that second half of play, meaning both the Eagles and the Wildcats. At the end of the first half, the Wildcats lead at the break, 40-0. More of the live streaming radio simulcast of this Region 4 AA Part 2 matchup. Laney at TW Josey coming up after the break. Stay tuned for the Battle of the Bands. Curtis Smith's stats, highlights, and so much more. The Wildcats halftime report after these messages and a word from our Laney Wildcat sponsors. The pride of Augusta. Laney Wildcat Marching Band. And the Battle of the Bands is underway. We're going to let you listen to both of them. Charles McNeil, Marlon Palmer on assignment. Chris Martin is alongside. Pride of Augusta, LCL, the City Classic. Flag twirlers with their pink for October. The dancing girls the same. What a performance. The pride of Augusta. Lucy Craft Laney Marching Band. What a first half of football it was for Wildcat Nation. C.J. Holmes got the scoring started way back at the 6:46 mark of the opening quarter, a 58-yard touchdown reception from Boobie Harris and the Wildcats. After Julian Beecham's point after touchdown was good, they led it by a score of 7-0. At the 3:55 mark, C.J. Holmes did it again, this time from 13 yards out on a reception from Boobie Harris. Beecham's extra point was good, and the Wildcats led it, extended their lead to 14-0. Then we move on to the second quarter, and early on in that second quarter, the Wildcats drew first blood in the second quarter. As they did so, Boobie Harris on a quarterback keeper. The point after touchdown was good, and the Wildcats led it 21-0. The Wildcats watched a nice return by J.J., got him in field position just outside the red zone, but weren't able to come in and score on that play, so the Wildcats took over 4 minutes later. 6:24 mark, Harris on a keeper of his own, 50-yard touchdown. This time the point after touchdown was no good. Beecham's first miss of the day. He had two misses on the first half of play, and with that the score was 27-0. The 3:17 mark, 3 minutes later, James Pride, 6-yard touchdown run. He got back in the scoring column. He was a big scorer in this game last year. Also had a fantastic breakout season in that first season as well. The talented sophomore scored from 6 yards out. Beecham, point after touchdown was good, and it was 34-0. And then the half ends on literally a video game play by Boobie Harris, a 65-yard touchdown run. I think they hit the joystick and put it on turbo, and he did the rest with the dead leg move, as Chris called it. 65-yard touchdown run. Beecham's extra point kick was no good, and we went into the halftime locker room as T.W. Josey threw in the white flag. and the halftime score of 40-0. What are your assessments of that first half before we get to the TW Josey Sonic Boom of the South?
Well, I think you summed it up perfectly. Laney has been dominant in this first half. They've done it with their athletes. They've controlled the line of scrimmage. A lot of the keys that Coach Baker had given us before the game, they have executed on. I think their worst part of the game was that first series where they got all those penalties on them. But ever since then, they have executed everything they wanted. Once they get runners out into space, they make the right moves, the right cuts in order to spring either for a big game or the big touchdown.
Of course, in the second half, we should have a continuous clock, which will help move things quite along. And the Wildcats and Eagles have nowhere to go as far as football is concerned for 2 weeks. So, you know, they want to continue to play into the late night if they can. And the Eagles in particular, who trail by 40-0, what do they have to do in order to just, you know, give themselves some sense of confidence as they finish up their string this year?
Yeah, you said it. The key word is confidence. So they've had a string of games here where they've had a tough time scoring, either 10-0 or just one score for the whole game. So they've had some tough games this year. But what this team needs is a shot of confidence. They need a series. When they come out in the second half, they need a series to be successful. They were having one before the end of the half, and then that bad snap, which they've had a few tonight, led to a turnover. They just need to come out and make progress. Let's get an extended series that if they can get it into the red zone, maybe get an attempt to score. But if not, at least he feels that confidence that he can move the ball against this defense.
All right, those are Chris's thoughts. Let's hear from the Sonic Boom of the South. Their first song of the halftime.
As we were talking earlier about the way the City Classic is, everyone's trying to make their way to the game, but everyone is like, I gotta be there before the band comes out, because it's great, just really a great feeling to be able to go to a school like we have here, schools we have here in the area where the band is just as popular as the sports team. And that's how it is for both of these schools.
What a performance by the Sonic Boom of the South. The TW Josey marching band performing for the fans' entertainment, and they thoroughly have enjoyed it. Stop the clock with 3 minutes to allow the band to get their full performance on. Chris and I post on our Instagram and Twitter pages as well. The halftime show.
You're exactly right. I was just getting shots of it, sending it out to my social media page, but also tagging some friends in this, because one of the things about going to school here in Augusta, Richland County, especially some of these legacy schools, you know that the football team and the band members are almost on the same level, and they're just as popular as one another. And a lot of people want to come to these games to see the band play, to see the flag girls, the dancing girls, the routine, because they put in a lot of hard work throughout the week in order to be entertaining to this crowd. And even though Josey's down tonight, they have come out here. This band has been amazing tonight, and they sound great. We're listening. I want to give a shout out to a couple of Josey alums. I want to say hello to Rosini Kendrick over at TNT TNT Transportation. I know that she's going to be tuning in. She's a Josey alum. She wanted them to win tonight. Unfortunately, doesn't look like that's going to happen. But the band was amazing, so you can definitely be proud of that.
Deion Grant as well. I know he's tuned in. The icon, TW Josey, won a Super Bowl title, college football title, and also took care of business. And on the high school front back in 1995. I had a chance to call that game, the state championship won by TW Josey. Perfect season, 15-0 with the Talbot brothers. Tremendous group of talent.
Absolutely. And although a lot of times we draw our allegiances to the schools that we went to or the ones that we're close to, but whenever somebody leaves and makes it up on to the next level, that collegiate level, that pro level, I think the whole city rallies behind them. Just so proud of them representing the area.
On the Laney side, of course, Emerson Boozer winning a Super Bowl title as well. TW Josey, Arnold Harrison winning a Super Bowl title for Pittsburgh, the Steelers. Deion won his title with the Giants. It's good to see Dan Booth here earlier as well. News director at News Channel 12. He gave us some nuggets on Coach Pinkney, having had an opportunity to visit with him earlier for a news story. What used to be called Operation Football Live, now Outside the Lines. Friday Night Lights, they do a great job with that.
It's really fun to follow high school sports, Charles, I don't know if you've seen some headlines lately, but they're talking about NIL deals now for high school.
State of Georgia, yeah, in the state of Georgia, it's eligible. The kids are eligible for those, which just changes the whole landscape of things. I mean, I got a chance to see it firsthand. Of course, on the basketball front, a couple of players that I was involved with, get a chance to get those NIL deals, and Mikey Williams being one, the basketball star. Did about 4 or 5 of his games during his sophomore and junior high school career during that silly season in between summer and the actual start of the fall camp for high school ball. And this young man got $1 million Puma deal at 16. Now he has 3.5 million Instagram and Twitter followers, at least at that time he did, maybe 4.5 more or more now, but yeah. When you've got that much following, everybody's hanging on your every word to get those endorsement dollars. Just hope that they're managed well, that the kids have enough maturity to hold on to that they put it in some interest-bearing accounts and don't spend it all. But that'd be the case for them or any 19 or 20-year-old going into the NBA or any 16, 17-year-old going into professional tennis. Just want the kids to manage the money and be able to hold on to it well into their 50s and 60s.
Absolutely. I think that's the key word you said was managing. That's kind of the scary part. We've seen it now on the college level. Now it's trickling down to the high school level, and you just wonder, is that going to be good for the sport or good for the kids? Of course, it may be good for the kids, but you just wonder what that's going to do to programs. Where can I play to get the most opportunity, the most money? How is that going to affect, schools that are within proximity to each other, the kids wanting to bounce back and forth? I know a little bit of that happens now, but the NIL stuff, if that does come down the pipe, that could be really scary.
And again, we'll see more and more of those. You can look for maybe some of your high school athletes representing some of these brands. You mentioned, some of them. We've heard many of them in our broadcasts, and those are now possible for those folks that are supporting the Wildcat program to also help the student athletes as well, because a lot of them come from lesser means, and you want them to be able to just not have to scratch and survive, be able to thrive. And having the right resources in your home or capabilities to have transportation to get to and fro means a lot to these young folks, means a lot to everybody. So
I do believe that.
Well.
You're absolutely right. And school like Laney that means so much to the community. I think when Laney does well, all the schools, like they say, that it lifts all the other schools up when you see that people support Laney, and makes you want to not only support them but also support the school that you came out of, and it just spreads that love throughout the community. I think we're people that have come out of the Richmond County system, working, doing well for themselves, want to find a way to give back, and not only give back to their school but also in the sports programs.
Boobie Harris with the pair of touchdown passes and 3 touchdown runs, helping to fuel the Wildcats' attack. They lead it by a score of 40-0 as the second half is about to be underway. The Wildcats won the toss and deferred to the second half, so they'll have the opening possession. Back deep for Laney. Number 9 is Vince Carter on the near side, picked up over there. Wildcat JV player bringing the ball on the forward out to the 35-yard line, and that's where they'll have it, 1st and 10.
And that was Reggie Nickerson on the return, wide receiver PP. He's a 150-pound sophomore, 5'7", with a decent return.
Wildcats have it the first possession of the second half, and they're going with Sturgis, the JV quarterback, the signal caller. He hands it off to the deep back. Barrel straight ahead for a pickup of about 9 on the play. They'll give him 8. It'll be 2nd and 2 for the Wildcat offense.
And that was Keenan Burns on that carry.
.50 left to play. Sturgis loses control of the football. He winds up falling on it, so the Wildcats recover. Quarterbacks fumble.
They're going to give possession
they give
to
it to Josey.
Eagles.
Oh, yes. Wow. So the Eagles pick it up as a change of possession. So the young quarterback gets an opportunity to start the second half, and maybe this environment a little bit over his head. As you mentioned earlier, getting a chance to play in this environment is a little bit different than playing on Thursday nights.
Exactly. So now they're in this situation with this score. They've got a lot of the young players in, not experienced playing on the varsity level with this type of environment. Josey's still out here trying to make things happen. And so they came across where, again, he's carrying the ball a little carelessly, and he caused a turnover.
This is the 58th meeting of the Wildcats and Eagles. This is the City Classic Wildcats series dating back to 1964. We mentioned in our open, 59-0 Wildcat win. As the quarterback will keep it. Mlady, left side, finds an opening, and he slithers forward for about a 15-yard gain. The Eagles have lost 13 of the last 14 games played in the City Classic. Laney has shut out their arch rivals 20 times in this series.
It's kind of clear who owns this rivalry then. I'm not even sure if you could call it a rivalry, but we always have.
Well, that's because on any given week, I think it was 2 years ago we were here, the final score was 8-2 in favor of the Wildcats. So that was one where the Wildcats were a decisive favorite. Like this one is. Running back is tripped up in the backfield. That was Mickens. Shy Mickens. He's the young man we mentioned earlier with the pink undergarment. His undershirt is pink for breast cancer awareness. Some of the players wearing pink gloves, pink socks. Become a staple over these last 10 years or so. Please make sure you get your annual exams. I want you to be around for quite some time. We did hear from Jariah Lewis during halftime. He was very grateful for the thoughts and prayers thrown out from the Wildcat Nation. Says he's doing a lot better. Happy to hear that. And there's an errant pass. Mlady trying to find his receiver out in the flat. That was Cameron Williams. Cameron had the opportunity to make that grab with his left hand, but he was going backwards. His momentum shifting in the opposite direction from where he should have been.
Yeah. Coach Pinkney is just trying everything tonight to get a spark. The only play that's really working for him is the Mlady keeper. And he just needs to just give a heavy dose of that to get this ball into the red zone.
I actually see somebody with a tablet that's watching our broadcast from the stands. That's kind of cool. 7:29 left now. The quarterback will roll. Mlady will throw. High floater in the air and is picked off. Intercepted at the 26. Out it comes to about the 36, maybe the 37 or a 38. A Wildcat interception sets them up in business for their second possession here in the second half.
Interception by Javarius Wynn, 5'11" senior, out there getting some time at cornerback.
Great coverage that time by Wynn as well, as he sized that one up and kept his eye on the quarterback, just made an easy catch. Got the Wildcats back in business, back pretty much where they were when they fumbled the last time. So 6:46 left to go. Remember, we're working with a continuous clock. The Wildcats out ahead by a score of 40-0.
And even though the Wildcats have a lot of their JV players in there, it's really the same result. They're able to penetrate through that line. They're stopping the Eagles' offense in the backfield or making it very tough for them to pick up any yardage once they step across that line of scrimmage.
Wildcats working with a wishbone now. And the Eagles jump across. Encroachment on the defense. 5-yard penalty. That's penalty number 7 for the Eagles. 4 assessed thus far for the Wildcats.
Yeah. Coach Baker's going old school with that wishbone formation.
Yeah, we ran it a lot last year, you might remember, as the running back, but it's been seldom used this season. We ran a little bit in the last contest. First time we got a chance to see it, as that was Keenan Burns once again getting the opportunity to carry the rock. Nice game by the big fella.
Yeah, Keenan has gotten a lot of touches in this second half, so we're definitely seeing him being worked into the system, getting him ready for next year.
Each time he's touched it has been positive yardage as well, so that will earn him opportunity to be in the rotation. But it's difficult to break when you got guys like Holmes and Harris in that backfield able to carry the ball, and your guy, Mr. Pride, from the bone. It's a tight bone right behind the quarterback under center. He hands it off to the deep guy this time coming through.
That carry was by number 13, Javarius Wynn.
So Wynn carried and tackled by a host of Eagles, but not before he does what he needed to do, which was pick up a Wildcat first down.
Right. He's getting a little time at running back. He just had that interception on the defensive side of the ball that gave the Wildcats the ball.
If you need a car, truck, or SUV, the only place to go is Honda Cars of Aiken right now. 0 down, no car payments until November. Look at them at HondaCarsOfAiken.com. 4:22 remaining. Tight formation. Handoff. Deep guy coming from the left to the right. He's got an opening, one guy to beat, and he gets knocked down, but not before he picks up another first down for the Wildcats. You need a car, truck, or SUV, the only place to go is Honda Cars of Aiken right now. 0 down, no car payments until November. See the entire inventory at HondaCarsOfAiken.com.
That run was by number 22, Trayvon Griffin, sophomore. So we're getting a big dose of the wishbone now. Feels like it's 1982 again, back watching this formation here.
Yeah, again, going back to a few years ago, a couple seasons ago, in Coach's first season at the Wildcats, they made it to the state playoffs and had to face Swainsboro. Swainsboro likes to run that bone, and they ran it down the Wildcats' throat in that contest, first-round playoff game, and Coach never forgot it, so he's implemented into our offensive flow last year. when we went away from our passing attack to a more ground-oriented offense, and it chewed up a ton of yards for C.J. Holmes and the rest of the backs in that formation last year. This year, with both Holmes and Daggett being able to throw the football, and then add to that the ability for Boobie Harris, when he joined the Arsenal, to be able to stretch the field, they abandoned it, went to a single back or sometimes a dual backfield. And like I said, just a couple of weeks ago at Butler, we ran a little bit of it, ran a lot of it last week as well against Washington County late in the game to run out the clock. And the Wildcats looking to do it here with a continuous clock in the third period. 3:25 left to play, and the running back tripped up as the Eagles defense standing up and making a solid stop on the runner.
Well, those football fans who remember seeing a lot of the wishbone back in the 80s in college ball, it was something that was very popular. And, you know, teams just started to figure it out. And when wide receivers became more and more athletic, as they are now, they just started to spread the ball out a little more. So it's something you don't see a lot of. So it's tough, maybe tough for teams to adjust to. But it is a powerful running formation. You should absolutely pick up yardage when you put those big bodies in there.
Wildcats were in the red zone, so the Eagles anxious to get after them. And again, they jumped across the line prematurely. That's a 5-yard penalty. It'll make it second down and about 5. So after a stop for no gain, they give up 5 yards by way of penalty to the Wildcats. And I know Coach Pinkney is not happy at all about that.
You know, if Coach Baker's going to run this wishbone, I'd like to see Coach Pinkney go back to the run and shoot. Put 5 wide receivers out there and drop that QB back and see what happens.
All right, second down and 5. Tight formation. We know the Eagles will certainly be passing it when they get it. Running back is tripped up. That was Henry, the ball carrier. That was Mickens, the middle linebacker, that came in and made the stop. So again, continuous clock means that we're inside of a minute left to play in the third period. This probably will be the final play of the quarter.
You just feel like what the Wildcats are doing is just getting some burn for their young guys, getting a little sweat going, calling plays, getting used to the pace of the game.
They'll go on third down and short. The line to gain is the 9, and he stopped shy of that at about the 10-yard line. So it'll be fourth down. The Wildcats in 4-down territory. I know they're going for it. One thing about Beecham as the extra point kicker, he doesn't have the strongest legs, so one would not expect him to try the attempt when we return. 3 quarters are in the books. I want to thank our community sponsor, W.H. Mays Mortuary, where providing quality funeral service is paramount. Your score after 3 quarters of play, the Wildcats lead this one by a score of 40-0 over TW Josey in the City Classic. This is Wildcats football on your Perry Broadcasting Sports Network. welcome back, everyone. We're in the Eagles Nest. T.W. Josey High School, Thomas Walter Josey High School, Augusta, Georgia, 15th Street. The Wildcats on a 4th down and 2 have the football inside the red zone at the 10, and somebody just moved prematurely, and it's a Wildcat. So coming out of the timeout, the Wildcats, who had not committed a penalty since early on in this contest, just picked up number 5 in the game, and none bigger for the Wildcat offense than that one. Backs them up 5 and makes it now 4th down and 7. 4th and 7, Chris. Dial up a play for me with the wishbone.
Well, they've got so many options with this lead here. I think they're just going to see what their young guys could do, try to pick up this 1st down. But if not, they're fine with playing defense on these guys.
Will keep it himself, running. Line the game was the 9. He got it back to about the 11, and the ball will go over on downs. They'll say officially he was down at the 14. So only a pickup of 3 on the play. And the Eagles will take over on down. So Sturgis, the young quarterback, thought they were going to give him an opportunity to throw the pigskin. Instead, wanted him to use his legs.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out.
Coach Baker knows that, they're in a situation where they can try some things, and putting the young guy in a situation of a 4th and must, let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can execute. So he's really, I just really look at this as him getting him prepared for when those situations are going to count.
Eagles will operate out of the shotgun, as you presume. They've run 4 different quarterbacks in this game, and the 4th quarter begins with them carrying the football over the left side. I believe that was Holmes. It was. Holmes has been operating with that tape hanging off his wrist for probably a quarter and a half. I thought maybe somebody, if it was a fight doctor here, maybe they would cut it off or something by now.
It's like he may be trying to wrapping it up, but it's coming undone. I think at this point he may be in a position where they just want to get out of this game. It's definitely out of reach for him right now.
Maybe not the fight doctor, but the fight trainer would come over, and the cut man would come over and snip it off or something. But maybe it's just a battle, one of those battle cries that he's holding on to. As we've got 10 minutes and 28 seconds, a timeout on the field. We'll stop the clock. It's a timeout called by T.W. Josey and their head coach in his first season, Lawrence Pinkney. If you did not hear the story, young man is a graduate of T.W. Josey, back in town as well after a successful 2 national championship stint at the University of Florida. A young guy who was on the staff at Laney back in the day. Remember when Theron Foreman was a talented linebacker for the Wildcats and running back? He was part of that staff that stewarded that young man to have an opportunity to play Division I football, and got his opportunity when John Starr II was relieved of his duties. And now he has the chance to be here at Josey. And you talked about it earlier, so many families that have graduates from both schools. Laney, of course, in their 75th year of football, as that procedure penalty will be assessed against the Eagles. That's penalty number 9. 5-yard variety negates the nice run on the previous play. So 2nd and 8. And Holmes loses the snap, loses the football, has to fall on it, and will do so in the backfield. That's a loss of about 5, maybe 6 on the play.
That's about the 5th bad snap that they've had in this game. That last one turned into a turnover, so they were lucky that this didn't happen this time.
Actually, that snap I thought was pretty good. It actually hit him on the hip. I think he took his eye off of it again.
Right.
We've had that happen at least 3 times on these proverbial bad snaps.
Well, the Wildcat defenders are just getting in the backfield like untouched, so he's definitely feeling the pressure. He's been feeling it all game.
3 players rush off the field. And now We've got another timeout called by T.W. Josey. So we touched on the fact that the Eagles have lost 13 in the last 14 games in the City Classic. The only Josey win was back in 2020 when Laney actually won the game on the field, but lost by forfeit because of Javaris Harris's ineligibility 2 years ago. It was a low-scoring affair, as I mentioned. 8-2 was the score there. Josey's last win on the field in this City Classic was 2007 at ARC Stadium, winning the City Classic of that year, 13-12. Although they have been shut out in this contest, they have had their opportunity to shut out Laney twice in this series. Once back in 1984, 14-0, and then ironically in 1998 by this score, 40-0.
And as you're going through the history of this series, you just see how much Laney has dominated it. But just talking and just being around people in the city, it feels like it's just such a great rivalry, almost even.
Mlady looking for some room on the edge, but great job by the corner, holding that corner. Not allow him to get to the edge as he's bumped down. So mark him forward to the 15, so that's a pickup of 6 on the play. But it'll set up a 4th and about 7. Gerald Brown III saving a much larger run by Mlady on that play.
Brown has made some great tackles tonight also. We've called his name a few times. You see Coach Pinkney's going to go for it. I mean, he's really got nothing to lose here. He's just looking to build some confidence. You think about both of these coaches, for as long as they played, they've been on the side of these kind of blowouts, on both sides of these kind of blowouts. So you know they're trying to prepare their team, pull out the learning lessons and prepare their team for the next game. Both coaches are doing this.
Yeah, one of the members of the varsity who may also be doing dual duties, Vincent Carter, was back deep like a guy in the secondary would be. Carter is a freshman, so I'm sure he is taking some snaps as a JV player, but boy, has he been an impactful player for the Wildcats this season. Young man has had the ability to be a kick return specialist, so you know he's got special skills to put him back there under the gun as a freshman. And then you add to that his uncanny ability to find the football defensively as a cornerback. So he's back deep as they will now bring on the punting unit. Got to watch out for the fake here. Nothing to lose for the Eagles, trailing 40-0. The punter will punt it. And a high floating kick is headed out of bounds. And it's pulled in there by one of the coaches on the sidelines for the Wildcats, doing so at the 40-yard line. So the Wildcats will have it 1st and 10 from the Eagles' 40-yard line with 8:23 and counting left to go in this contest.
We'll see if the Wildcats use up a good bit of the clock on this series, run that wishbone formation, and just kind of ground and pound the ball into the red zone and attempt to score again.
We talked about the 22-6 victory for the Wildcats. We'll talk about that more after this play as they go on the left side. The fullback rolling out to the left side, picks up positive yardage. Keenan Burns, the ball carrier, picked up 6 on the play. So going back to last year's contest, you might remember C.J. Holmes with 2 touchdowns in the second quarter last year to open up the game for the Wildcats. Angus Myrick had a tackle for loss, and it was in the end zone. He actually picked up the ball, but they ruled the quarterback down by contact for a safety, and then Demarion Johnson with the TD run. That was all the scoring for the Wildcats in that 22-6 win. Looked like there was some motion on the Wildcats, but no flag as the running back gets smashed after picking up 1 on the play. That was Javaris Wynn.
So we've seen Wynn and Burns get several touches in this second half. Wynn is the senior, actually, so he's been moved around to a couple of different positions. He had that interception earlier, and then some really good runs here as a running back in the second half.
Eagles going with 4 linebackers in the formation. The outside linebacker is the one that made the stop there. Ball on the far hash, handoff to the second man through, and here he goes. He's headed toward the end zone. 10, 5, carrying tacklers with them into the end zone for a touchdown.
Looked like that was Trevin Griffin with another run there. The 165-pound sophomore got to the edge.
Yeah, Trayvon Griffin. Young man had been out a couple of weeks, made his way back. That's why you see the line on the roster there. Must have worked his way back into the coach's good graces.
Well, runs like that will do it for you.
Yeah. 46-0, 2-point conversion. Run is good. Like the way the official showed that one. The referee showing both sidelines. The PAT is good. 2-point conversion by the Wildcats. Have upped their lead, but Trayvon Griffin with a little speed and power carries the ball in for a Wildcat score here in the 4th period. Inside of 5.5 minutes left to play, the Wildcats lead this one by a score of 48-0.
And some of these blowout losses for the Eagles, they've actually scored late in the 4th. I don't know if that's a mixture of, the other team taking their foot off the gas or finally finding something that works. So this may be one of those type of drives where, the Eagles can put it into the end zone for sort of more of a consolation point for them. At least it's something to pay off for their work that they put in.
I guess if there's any other consolation with the continuous clock, they held the Wildcats scoreless in the 3rd period as well. So their defense, after yielding 2 scores in that first quarter and 4 in the second, held them 12 minutes without a score. And the kickoff is a high floater from Beecham, pulled in there by the 16. Angling this way toward the 30. Kick return specialist now trying to reverse his field. Runs into trouble, runs into his own man. Still on his feet, though, as he continues to run around. And he's finally pulled down back inside the 25. His forward progress brought him out across the 30, so let's find out where they mark him down. And they will mark him back inside the 25. It looks like they'll mark him at the 22 or 23-yard line.
That was J.J. Jackson. We've called his name a few times tonight. This young man is just no quit in him. He's trying to make something happen for these Eagles. He had a play earlier tonight where his helmet came off, and he still ran for another 10 yards. Looks like they're going to move the ball up to the 32.
Yeah, we talked about the forward progress coming out across the 35. They're going to mark it at the 36, and it goes back to what we talked about, Chris. The continuous clock through all of that, moving the ball around. Now the time is down to 3 minutes left, so if they're going to score that ceremonial consolation prize of a score, it needs to come quickly. Quarterback angling toward the left side, and he gets pulled down from behind. That's Ty Cameron Williams once again. So he picks up an Eagle first down. So drive starts at the 37, and they go into Laney territory after the pickup of 14.
Ty Cameron has given them a couple of special plays tonight, so it looks like they're really going to try to build off him and Barnes. Well, Barnes is a senior, but definitely Ty Cameron Williams. Try to build on him for something for next year, as well as some of these other younger players like JJ that we were mentioning.
Yeah, surprisingly, like Frank Davis was a young man that we highlighted coming into it. Davion Harrington, we mentioned him. Those are guys that had flashed in highlights that we had seen on the late night programs, but neither of those were. One didn't play at all, and I don't remember if we even saw Frank Davis in this game. So young man, there's Davis. I see him down there. He's actually injured, spinning the football. Looks like he's got both knees wrapped. He was a big target, great hands receiver. And then Harrington, he was a quarterback. A couple of times he threw the ball deep, showed off flashed a nice arm. So we're inside the final minute of play in the City Classic. They go with the jet sweep. Trying to catch the edge was number 21, JJ, and he was wrestled down by the Wildcats.
Yeah, that was Reggie Makerson on that stop again, 5'7" sophomore. JJ's the one with the speed, but he was not able to get to the edge on that time with Makerson making that stop.
This should be the final play of the game, barring a penalty, defensive penalty. We hope to talk with Coach Ronnie Baker. We know we'll have some stats for you. Everything will be all Wildcats. Curtis Smith, our statistician. And now, in the backfield, wrestled down was Maurice Holmes to close out the ball game. The final tackle of the Wildcats went to number 13. That's Javaris Wynn. And the Wildcats will pick up a valuable victory in the City Classic. Their 4th win of the season. Now 3-0 in the sub-region, and a huge 48-0 win in this contest here tonight. Big win for Coach Baker, undefeated in the City Classic. As he is the first in line to shake hands with the players and some of the members of the media, as well as his coaching staff and players. In prior years, we've seen some heated activities on the part of these two teams. Of course, they're separated by the railroad tracks, and the battle of the tracks goes to the Wildcats this time in the City Classic as they pull this one off yet again. Chris, quickly your observations before we get to the post-game show.
Yeah, so it was just a great showing for the Wildcats. Great chance for them to really put some pieces of that offense out there and see what they're able to do out in space. They make great use of the edge, and once they free up their runners, they're able to see the field in a totality to where they can make cuts and make decisions on the fly and gain more yards after passing that line of scrimmage. On the other side of the ball, Josey's had a tough season. They've had a lot of games in this type of score, but I do believe that Coach Pinkney is working to build the discipline and the program that he's used to with that winning pedigree that he's brought from the University of Florida.
So 48-0, your final score. The Wildcats claiming another victory, still undefeated in their half of the region. Great success on the part of the Wildcat program. Special thanks, as always, goes to our statisticians tonight, Omaida Martin and Curtis Smith as well. Curtis always taking care of us. And Kurt's going to go down to the locker room and get these guys prepared for the bye week. Tell them what they can do and what they can't do during that stretch. Antonio up in the booth with us as well. We'll talk with Chris Martin, get his thoughts on this game, let you hear from some highlights, run down those stats that Kurt and Omaida just put together for us, and we will have you guys ready for the bye week as the Eagles will meet at midfield and have a conversation with their head coach and coaching staff and begin to think about the things that they can do in this back half of the season. The Eagles now dip to 1-6 on the season. The Wildcats once again improved to 4-2-1 on the year. The losing streak for the Eagles now reaches 6, and for the Wildcats, their win streak grows to 3 on the year. Stay tuned. The Frails and Wilson Attorneys at Law post-game show on 96.9 and praise969.com continues for our streaming folks. We're done for the evening. We hope to have you guys with us next time. Laney defeats TW Josey by a final score of 48-0. You've been tuned to Wildcat Football on your Perry Broadcasting Sports Network.